Hello, I'm Bartling, and I certainly hope that you're in the process of having yourself that brighter summer day. Summer starts with an S. You know, the older I am, the more that I think. And to help me think, I observe a lot more. I do. I am a people watcher, and I listen a little bit more too. Don't ask my wife, LaDonna, about that listening part. S for summer. S for service. Service, you give and you take with service. What service are you giving? And what service are you taking? I've got this old bucket here with me, and it reminds me, thinking of service, one of my very early lessons on service. You see, when Sergeant Major Bartling was in Korea, we stayed with my grandparents, my mother and I. And it didn't take long that my grandfather, and I didn't call him grandfather, I called him Grandpa Dad. Grandpa Dad taught me many lessons. Now, in this little house, and it was what you would call, and the outside was covered with tar paper. It was a tar paper little shack. It had one room, the living room, one room, the kitchen, one bedroom, and a second bedroom, and that was it. It had no running water. It had an oil furnace, a gas stove that we had to light with the old match. So it didn't take me long when I arrived there that I went into the community bucket. You see, there was a bucket like this, and it pumped water outside from the well, very cold and clean water. Well, we had a bucket of water like this and a ladle. Well, one day I took a drink of that cool, refreshing water in the ladle, and I just dumped the rest of the water from the ladle into the slop bucket. We had what you call a slop bucket. Well, Grandpa Dad saw that. He said, "Young man, I want you to understand the value of water." I said, "Yeah, I value it. It's good when you're thirsty." He says, "No, I don't think you do value it." He says, "The value of that water is so precious to you. You just go without having it, and you'll understand." You see, he went through with the family of what you'd call the dirty 30s there in the plains. You see, at that time, Grandpa Dad then gave me a chore to do. Every day, I would take the water from the bucket that was unused, and I would pour it on some plants, not to waste it. Then I would pump fresh water for us for the day. That was an old hand pump. And as you can see, I'm not the biggest guy in the world. It took me a while to pump that hand pump, but I would fill, not up to the top, but I would get water into it, and then I would lift this with both my hands, and I would get it into the the kitchen, and then I would then put it up there with the ladle. That's one of my earliest recollections in this old mind of service. I kind of understood the value of water, and particularly the value of service. How about the service you receive? Well, recently, LaDonna and I we're very, very fortunate that we got to go east and visit our grandson, Henry Andrew, and his parents, Justin and Heather. And in that trip, I made some observations on service. One I could think of was a restaurant. The restaurant was called Best Burger, and they had all different varieties of burger, from a buffalo burger, yeah, New Jersey buffalo burgers, elk burger, salmon burgers, and of course this extremely very good beef burger. Well, there's no different there than maybe in your place or here. There's a shortage of help. So it took a little bit longer than maybe expected. Didn't take long for the manager to come over and offer to us free dessert. Whatever it was on the menu, we could go ahead and order. Example of service there. Another one deals with the airlines. Now, when we were flying back, our flight was leaving at 7 in the morning. Well, my wife, LaDonna, she can't walk as good. She'll have times where she can walk 2 blocks, and then maybe within an hour or the next day, she can't walk a block. So because of that, and you know how it is in between gates, how far they can be, we have it arranged ahead of time for her to get assistance. Well, we were leaving the Newark airport, and we got there, and we went to the check in and get it set up for LaDonna to be helped with the use of the wheelchair. And lo and behold, up comes this young man, Emmanuel, and he had a smile on his face right from the get-go, and he introduced himself, and any way that he can help and everything. So right away, he starts to pull her away, and he says, "Oh, wait a minute there, sir. That bag that you happen to be carrying there with your roller bag looks a little heavy. Why don't you put it right on here, and I can haul it right along like I'll be doing here for LaDonna." Terrific. But we get through the line, and of course, we're wanting to, me, of course, I want to get through the line, get the details done, set down and wait to board. Even if I have to sit there an hour and a half ahead of time, my goal is to go from point A to point B and get her done. Okay. Well, Emmanuel helped LaDonna, helped me go through TSA. Didn't seem to be any trouble at all. And so we're just getting back loaded up with our stuff from the TSA line, and he gets pushing a little bit, and we go down just a little bit, and then he stops. So that we're standing in front of this great big window, and he says, "Would you look at that? Let's just look at that." And I'm kind of looking at Emmanuel. Okay, what am I looking at? And he says, "Do you see it?" And then he says, "The sunrise." And there we were, folks, over to the east then was the whole Manhattan skyline, skyscrapers and all. And then coming over there in between those skyscrapers was the sun. Beautiful, beautiful sunrise. Then Emmanuel took time to point us out, maybe to have us relax a little bit. Service, an example of service. At one point of our journey, we were 20 minutes late from arriving from one destination to the other, and we had a connection. Well, that meant that there was only about a 15 minutes or less time between gates. When you arrive at this particular destination, no one was there. No one was there, even though it was 20 minutes late. We get to the front where the ticket agent was there. I immediately bring up There's supposed to be someone here. And we only have 15 minutes. Well, he brought it up on his clicking a little bit on the computer, said, yep, you're right, there should be somebody here. That was the end of the conversation. There was no sense of ownership, no apology, no let's see what I can do to expedite it. I do see that you got this about 15 minutes for the final boarding, and you're at gate 25. The gate that we need is gate 69, Denver Airport. It seemed like an eternity, and the person did come. And he hustled as fast as he could. Folks, I don't think there was probably 2 minutes available there, and we got on the plane. Some little differences there on service. Same industry, same airlines. It just seemed different attitudes on their particular positions. They're different little cogs in the wheel that makes things run smoothly and makes their customer feel good. So, when you receive service, or particularly when you give service, be sure to observe it and see how things are progressing and how it can be made better, how you can make it better. And if you receive extraordinary service, as quick as you can at the point, let them know. Let them know. Look them in the eye and tell them and give them thanks. So, until we talk again, I want you to take care, because you know what? I'm rooting for you, because we're in this together. And oh boy, I do know the value of water. Take care.